Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by Doxity in partnership with Columbus State University. My name is Carolina, nice to meet you all, and I'll be your host for today's event on behalf of Doxity. I see here that the first people are already starting to join in. We're going to wait a few minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect. In the meantime, feel free to say hi in our chat here in Zoom, and please tell us where you're from since we are very curious. First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us and thank our panelists for being here with us today. I want to introduce you all to Eric Spears, Professor and Executive Director for the Center for Global Engagement, Christine Shaw, International Students and Scholar Services Coordinator in the Center for Global Engagement, Michael McFalls, Professor and Director in the Department of Art, and Adam Bova, Assistant Professor in the Department of Communication, Yancey Center. Welcome, it's a pleasure to have you here. Together with them, we are going to discover everything about the programs in the areas of art, communication, and the Schwob School of Music, Theater, and Dance. Moreover, we'll get insight about the exceptional campus life at Columbus State University in Georgia. You'll also have the possibility to interact with our speakers and ask them questions. And talking about that, I'd like to remind you that after the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you'll be able to ask direct questions to the panelists. So don't be shy and just type all of your questions in the Q&A section here on Zoom, and we'll go through them at the end of the webinar. Also, for those of you interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Doxity for this free masterclass, stay tuned because we will post a link to get the certificate at the end of the session. So I think that we are able to start now. Welcome to those who just joined us. And without further ado, I'm now leaving the floor to our panelists for their presentation. See you later and enjoy.
Thank you, Carolina. 1 second, folks. I hope that everyone can see the screen. Is that correct? Okay, 1 second here. All right. Welcome to this session with Columbus State University. Again, I am Eric Spears. I serve as the Executive Director for the Center for Global Engagement, which is the central department that handles all international admissions and international student and scholar advising for people on F1 visas and J1 visas. I'm joined here today with my good colleagues from Columbus State University, and they've just been introduced. But as you can see from the screen here, from Christine Shaw, who manages all international admissions and serves as the primary individual for international student advising with respect to your visa regulations. Professor Mike McFalls from the art department, who's also the director of 2 different museums that we have here at the university. One's called Passaquan and the other is called the Bo Bartlett Center. And then Professor Adam Bova, who is a professor in the communications department, but focuses on film studies. Just a quick overview of who and what we are at Columbus State. We are located about 90 minutes away by car from downtown Atlanta, Georgia. And so if you can identify where Atlanta is on a map, then we're not that far away. And if you're coming from a big city like Sao Paulo, that's like crossing half the city. So we are in a smaller city outside of Atlanta, although we are classified as the 2nd largest city in Georgia, but we're also just a short distance away from one of the United States' premier global cities, that being Atlanta. We are known as a city of arts, music, and outdoor adventure. We also host a series of Fortune 500 companies that include banking, insurance, and cybersecurity. And of course, we're home to Columbus State University. And here is a map to give you a sense of where we are located in the United States. We're located in the American Southeast, which has a pretty moderate climate. So if you're not keen on a lot of cold weather and snow, the Southeast is the place to come. In addition to where we're located, a lot of our international students take their holiday breaks, whether that's over the winter break during Christmas and New Year or over spring break, and they head down to the next state just below us on the map, and that is Florida. So they can get to Orlando in about 6 hours, or they can be on the Gulf Coast in about 3. But we also have students who are very adventuresome and they want to get to the big cities like Chicago or New York or Washington, D.C. And out of Atlanta's airport, which is the world's busiest airport and has direct flights from over, 35, 40 countries, you can also get multiple direct flights a day to New York, to Washington, and Chicago, and such. As I said, we're also a city of adventure. So while we are a city, we also have a lot of outdoor sports. And we are located on the Chattahoochee River, which is one of Georgia's longest rivers. And we sit at the junction between one plateau and the coastal plain that goes down to the Gulf of Mexico. So we have a series of rapids that come through our city. And you can actually go whitewater rafting in our city. And in the rapids are so good that we actually host international world championship competitions here. Just as a brief overview, Columbus State has approximately 8,000 students, and that includes students on our English Language Institute, that's English as a second language, undergraduate programs, and postgraduate programs. We have 90 different undergraduate and graduate degree options. And we are nationally recognized for our programs in the arts, which you'll hear about today: education, business, nursing, computer science, and robotics. We have the highest levels of national accreditation possible. That's done through our regional body. And then we are ranked as a top public university in the American South, the number 30 top public university and number 36 in terms of affordability. So if you're looking for a place where you're getting high quality education as well as affordability so you don't go into a lot of student debt, Columbus State strikes that perfect balance for you. Today, we're going to have presentations from one of our 4 colleges. And when we say colleges in the United States, to some in Europe or in Latin America, that might mean faculties. So we are going to have presentations from the College of the Arts, but we also have a College of Business and Technology, a College of Letters and Science, and a College of Education and Health Professions. I had come from a background that is both public university, but also private university. And I think Columbus State, again, strikes the perfect balance as being a public university with the affordability, with a private university touch, in the sense that we're not too large, we're not too small, we're sort of that right-sized institution, and your professors know you by name, know what you want to do. They advise you, they work directly with you, and they mentor you, not only through your coursework, but also through your career ambitions and transitions into the professional world. We do have affordable tuition. Christine will talk more about this later as she goes over the F1 visa regulations and the I-20 document regulations that you need to know about coming to the United States, and in particular at Columbus State. But in general, our tuition structures are what you see here: $4,210 for English as a second language program. Undergraduate tuition is $10,331. And graduate tuition will depend on whatever program you go to. We are student-centered. We pride ourselves on excellence in teaching. Some universities focus more on research and development. Other universities focus on student success and teaching. We are primarily and foremost a teaching institution. So we want to work with our students, teach them, and get them into professional programs. We are required to do research and scholarship, and we do all the other things that universities do. But we have made it our mission to work as a student-centered university that prepares students for careers and academic success. We do so by incorporating things like experiential learning, whether that is study abroad. And I know coming to the United States, you're thinking that is my study abroad. But we have loads of international students who then return to another country through our Center for Global Engagement and do study abroad in another country. We send students on internships, both locally and nationally. And then we also have students do presentations at conferences and so forth. I'll give you an example. It's not really a conference, but we have art students going to Oxford, England over spring break to work with a partner college there. And our students and British students are working together on joint art projects, and they're going to have a gallery opening where they present their artwork to the British public in a matter of 2 weeks. So that's kind of like a conference in a way as well. If you are looking at English programming before you enter the university, we are also very unique in that we offer a bridge program, which allows you to take English as a second language, but also degree-seeking courses simultaneously. And so that's something that you can explore through us through the international admissions. We have on-campus residential halls. Here's an example of main campus, but if you're in the College of the Arts, you'll be living in our downtown campus, which is known as River Park. But these are just some examples of what a residence hall might look like, or our campus scenes as well. And here is the River Park campus, where the College of the Arts is located and where you would live if you are most likely in the College of the Arts programs in one of our residence halls in downtown, which operate much like apartment-styled living in historic buildings. So you share bedrooms, but you have a common living room, a common kitchen area that you use together, and you're footsteps away from dozens of restaurants, coffee shops, and all kinds of fine arts, whether that is musical performances, both, classical and contemporary, theater productions from four different theater stages in the city, as well as multiple art galleries that are hosted by Columbus State University faculty and students. And here's an example of one thing that Professor McFalls will talk about, which is the Beau Bartlett Center Gallery. And just another example of our River Park campus scenery and opportunities near your residence halls. I mentioned study abroad. We take students abroad, both with our faculty, but give you the opportunity to enroll in our partner universities as well, including at our own campus location site in Oxford, England. It's called the Spencer House, and we partner with local colleges there for our students to study. We have campus recreation, so whenever you need to burn off any kind of stress from an exam, or just want to stay in good fitness, you can do things like that. And then we also have several international athletes who play on our collegiate sports, and we have nationally ranked women's soccer teams, and we have nationally ranked tennis teams and golf teams. And then just average campus fun that you might think about in terms of the typical American college experience. We have an international club that is quite active, and they serve as mentors for our new international students. So you will always have a buddy somewhere who can help you navigate the city or the university. And also, this is another group called Chispo, our Hispanic and Latino, Latinx community. And we'll later get back to Ms. Shaw, who will talk more about this document that you see here, which is your I-20 document. I'm going to stop sharing there and then turn this over to, I think I'll start with Professor McFalls, if that's okay.
Sure. We see that? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric. It's really nice that you invited us here. I'm here representing the Department of Art at Columbus State University. As Eric said, I'm a professor of art. I focus on sculpture. I'm also the director of Passaquan and the Bartlett Center. So I'm going to briefly go over those programs and those outreach centers that we have here on campus. So the art department is housed in the Korn Center for the Visual Arts and the Art Studio Depot. I was sitting there thinking, oh, this is about 100,000 square feet. And then I thought, oh, I should do this in square meters. So it's about a little under 10,000 square meters of studio space. One of the, in the university system of Georgia, we are probably the largest square footage in the system, and we have probably the best state-of-the-art facilities in the state of Georgia. And it is located in the historic riverfront area of the city that Eric was talking about. What you see in this picture is actually the Corn Center, the entrance to the Corn Center of Visual Arts, and this is one of the studios. This is the sculpture studio, one of the metal fabrication studios that I actually teach in. But we also have many different fields of study in the art department. If you were here, you could study studio art, and we have breakout areas in that I'll get to in a second. Art education, graphic design, animation, and art history. And then within the art studio focus areas, we have book arts and printmaking, ceramics, narrative illustration, painting, and drawing, photography, sculpture, and expanded media. And again, these are, you can get a sense of the size and scale of our studios. This is the printmaking studio on the left. On the right is a drawing exercise that they're doing outside of the classroom in just one of the hallways in the Corn Center. And then these are the ceramic wheels and the ceramic studios to give you a sense. But the other thing we do, we pride ourselves in the Department of Art is not only about the kind of ratio of students. We have about a 15-to-1 student ratio, but we pride ourselves on the experiential learning opportunities students have. And within the outreach centers, we have, well, within the Department of Art, we have 5 galleries. One of them is the Bartlett Center. It's the largest gallery. It's 18,000 square feet, and that would be roughly 8,000 meters, I think, square meters. But the center, what we do there is we bring in 9 national and international exhibitions to the center every year. Students help curate. We take on about 11 interns. They help curate exhibitions, hang exhibitions. They learn the kind of the ins and outs of the art market and art world through the center. So this is a great experiential learning opportunity for many of our students. The other thing is all of our marketing is designed through our graphic design department. So all of our catalogs and exhibition materials are done by our students in the art department. And last, I'll talk about something that's really strange and I think really unique to what we have in the Department of Art is Passaquan. For those of you who don't know, Passaquan is a 7-acre self-taught artist-built environment. It was created by an artist that went by the name of St. Ohm, or Eddie Owens Martin. He was a self-taught artist, and he's become a really important national and actually getting now international recognition for his work through the center. The art department in the university own Passaquan and have been working since 2014 on a multi-million-dollar restoration on the site. We're in the second phase of that restoration. And again, we see Passaquan as a high-impact learning environment. It's a learning laboratory where students can do performances. They work on the restoration. So like I said, we're in the second phase of the restoration right now where we just received a large grant. And we worked with the chemistry department to come up with some solutions to the restoration problems that we were having on the site. And now the students are helping implement that restoration project. And again, this is an internship opportunity for students. We typically take about 14 internships at Passaquan a year, excuse me. So this is an example of 4 of them working on the site. You don't have to wear cowboy hats if you work out there. But I will say it is hot in the summer. So the summer interns typically figure out why people wear hats in the South. And that's why, because it's hot, hot, hot. So, but this is a really fun opportunity and the students love it. But the other thing we use this place and also the center for is really these kind of cross-disciplinary exchanges between most of the College of the Arts and also other departments within the university. And this is an example of a performance we did at the site It was an opera based on the life and times of Eddie Owens Martin, and it was a true collaboration between the English department, the theater department, the music department, and the art department, where we created an original piece, an opera, which I never thought I'd be directing an opera in my life. But we created an opera, and then one of the performances were done on the site of Eddie Martin. So, but again, this is just a quick kind of overview of what we do in the art department. But as you can see, it's not your typical art department. We typically are doing things that are kind of outside the box and are engaged in having students have one-on-one experiences with their faculty. So I'm going to turn this now over to Adam to talk a little bit about communications.
And while we're transitioning to Mike, I'd like to also add, as I talked about the study abroad opportunities, the art department always has study abroad opportunities to explore art and through different cultural lenses. So they will go to Oxford, where I mentioned there's a gallery exhibit happening soon, but they also study art history in Oxford. We have artists who take their students to Florence, Italy to study, you know, everything from Michelangelo to contemporary pieces that you might find in, you know, in any kind of gallery in either Florence or in Milan or Rome. We also have professors from East Asia who go to Japan and South Korea to explore East Asian art. So when you come to Columbus, you're not just anchoring yourself in this really rich environment that is locally based, but we're also extending you further to other parts of the world where you can get your hands around different types of art. And I just wanted to make sure that they understood that as a really great opportunity.
Yeah.
Professor Pauls here is one of those professors who takes students overseas.
So, and actually to add to that, Eric, you know, since we're having this conversation, the other thing we do in the art department is we typically have a study away. So we don't just abroad, we take students to New York. Every semester I take students to Atlanta, to the High Museum, and we work with them. But typically we do at least one trip a year to New York at some point. So we just had Hannah just came back. They did an exhibition in New York 2 weeks ago, and every student has an opportunity to have these experiences while they're here at Columbus State. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll turn this over to Adam.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Michael. So hello, everyone. My name is Adam Bova, and I am a professor within the Department of Communication, but we encompass a lot of different disciplines. So we have communication, we have film, we do integrated media, which is your social media, YouTube type of content. And then we also cover PR, which is public relations, and the communication, more kind of the corporate communications. My specialty and my emphasis is in film production and in integrated media, social media things. And we are also located down here on the River Park campus. We also have studio space on the other side of town over at Flat Rock Studios. This is we have a small space within a much larger film studio over there that is currently gearing up to start filming 4, 5, 6, 7 shows this year. I don't know how many of you guys follow the news, but the United States just went through a strike within the film industry. So all work stopped for almost an entire year. It is now coming back and we are getting back to work now and are seeing a lot of productions open up. Some of those are coming here to Columbus. And why that's important is because our students actually get to work on these productions. We are we are actually the first university within the university system of Georgia that partnered with the Georgia Film Academy. This is a public-private partnership that we have that allows you to learn on industry equipment, learn how Hollywood creates videos, creates films, and does productions. But then you also get to work on professional Hollywood sets that come here to Columbus. When our students graduate, we have quite a few of them that go and work in Atlanta, which is only 90 minutes away. They've worked on some very small projects you may or may not have heard of, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there's a lot of opportunities there. The GFA is a great opportunity for you to learn how the film industry works, and then start working therein. What makes CSU and our department different is we don't just teach you about film. We don't just teach you about film theory. We don't just teach you about how to create a shot. We are very hands-on in our approach. We teach you how to actually go out and create content, not just film in traditional film. We also do documentaries. One of my fellow faculty members here in the department, Professor Chris Robinson, is a working documentarian. He's currently involved in, I think, 2 different docs that he is doing here. He also, I know Michael works with you in doing docs over with Passaquan as well. So there's, some more of that kind of collaboration that we have to help you guys learn and discover how to communicate to a much wider world and audience. And we also have internship opportunities. Like I said, we place students on Hollywood films that come here to Columbus that you can do either over summer breaks and sometimes even during the semester. And then we also bring in nonprofit clients here in Columbus that are needing help with their social media, with their video production, and actually in class, you get to work with these clients and work on projects with them, which just gives you a larger portfolio of work that you can show to employers upon graduation. So really, I think the main difference for CSU is we are, a small department. We are actively engaged with our students in the productions that they are doing. Our hands-on approach really does prepare you for this industry and gives you skills beyond just Hollywood into marketing and advertising and just kind of this global communication. So we have a couple international faculty members on our staff as well that do provide that global aspect to what we do here in the department. I did also just want to mention real quick as well, there are 2 other departments within the College of the Arts. We have a wonderful Department of Theater and Dance, which is just downstairs from my office, actually, and they are phenomenal. They do quite a few different programs and events throughout the year. And then also the Schwob School of Music, which is located right across the street from our building. And it would take me another hour to list everything that Schwob does. But if you are interested in any of those areas, Columbus State is definitely a school to consider. So I probably took way less than 5 minutes. Sorry, Eric.
That's perfectly fine. That's a really great overview. And Professor Bova is also taking students overseas this summer to do some film production in the United Kingdom. So again, another opportunity of where you can get your hands kind of around these experiences that are pretty meaningful. We are at 12:30, and Carolina, we can pause for some direct questions. I've been trying to answer a few things here, by the chat, but if students have they want to pop in with their voices, that would be fine too.
Yeah, I think that the students can only ask their questions via the
Oh,
Q&A
by the chat.
box.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, in the chat, but if you want, we can give also live answers to the questions they already made.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, for example, I've read some questions about the scholarships, if you have more information about the scholarships for the international
Oh,
students.
right. Yeah. Well, actually, I forgot Christine hasn't had her opportunity. I'm sorry, Christine. I was in my head, I was thinking we were already at the end of it, but Christine can talk more about the international admissions process. And Christine, if you could talk a little bit about the scholarship opportunities there, that might help answer some of the questions I've been typing back on.
Yeah, for sure. So hi, I'm Christine Shaw. So I'm the International Student and Scholar Services Coordinator. I work with all applicants, submitting their applications and documents, issuing the I-20 for you to get your visa, and yeah, the whole process, also scholarship. So I'll give you that information as well. So I'm going to share my screen and show you that here. All right, so hopefully you can see this. And let me move it so I can see it. So the international admissions process, it basically consists of, obviously, you complete your application online, which is on our website. You complete your information, the major that you want to take part in, any previous schooling, you will list all of that and your personal information. And at the end, just pay your application fee, which is just $40 for undergrads, $50 for graduate students. And then after that point, you'll be placed in the system and the application will come to me for processing, and then I will be in touch with you at that point. You'll get a CSU email address and a CSU ID number at that point as well, so that we can be in touch and easily find you in the system. Documents that are required for admission to any program. So we need, if your native language is not English, then we do need proof of English proficiency. So that is through either a TOEFL exam or an IELTS exam. We don't accept Duolingo, but we do accept those. And there are many other options on our website as well that you can submit. If you, like I said, are a native English speaker, you will list that on your application, and then you won't need the proof of English proficiency. Otherwise, you will need to show us proof of that. Also, a professional transcript evaluation of your foreign transcript, so your high school transcript. That applies to all foreign transcripts, okay? And that would be a translation, if applicable, and an evaluation. So for your grades and courses to be converted to the US system is what this is for. For undergraduate applicants, we require a 2.5 grade point average, and that will also be included in the professional transcript evaluation. For graduate applicants, it's a 2.75 GPA. There are evaluation companies that you can use, and those are listed again on our website. And you will contact them directly and send your transcript directly to them for them to evaluate that. And then we will get that via secure email, and we'll review that for your application for admission. Some programs, we would need official transcripts directly from your school, but we would let you know if that's the case. Most cases, you're going to need the professional evaluation from the company, one of the companies. Application deadline. So for our fall semester, that's usually a mid-August start date. The application deadline is the 1st of May, with all documents due by the 1st of June. Of course, the sooner the better that you can submit them, so that we can make a decision and hopefully accept you. And then also then I can issue the I-20 so that you can get make a visa appointment and get your visa. For spring semester, that's a January start date. So spring semester runs January through mid-May. And then that is a 1 October application deadline. So, and a 1 November deadline for all documents. And again, as soon as you can submit all of your documents, the sooner the better, so we can get all of that processed. And of course, we'll be glad to work with you on those deadlines as best we can. After that, those are the requirements for admission to the university. Then I would need to receive certain documents to be able to issue you what's called an I-20, to be able for you to get your visa. So to get your I-20, obviously you need to be accepted to the university, which I mentioned above, all those requirements. Then I will need your passport. So you'll need a current passport. and then a CSU financial guarantee. That is, you would complete our financial guarantee, which lists all the individuals and or sponsors who will be providing money to support your studies and your personal expenses while you are here. And that would include if you get any CSU scholarships, you would list that as well on that document. Then we would need bank statements and or letters for each of the individuals that you listed on your financial guarantee. So if you have money, your parents have money, your sponsor has money that is funding your studies and your expenses while you're here, we would need a bank statement from each of those individuals to show that the funding you list on the guarantee is also actually available. And this is all a requirement by the US government for me to be able to issue your I-20 and then for you to get your visa appointment. Okay, and we don't charge a fee to issue your I-20, just the application fee is all that you pay. I know you want to know about the costs of everything. I know Eric mentioned that, Dr. Spears mentioned that earlier, but just so you can have an overview of entire costs for one academic year. So that's for fall semester and spring semester, that is 1 year. It includes tuition fees, books and supplies, housing, meals, living expenses, and mandatory health insurance that's required for you, again, to have F1 student status. For undergraduate studies, that'll be $34,400 per year. So half of that for 1 semester. And that, again, includes all of these items above. You do have to show, no matter if you're living on campus or off campus, you have to show that you have money for housing and meals, because you still have to eat, you still have to pay rent. So that's why that is included for that amount listed here. All freshmen actually do live in our on-campus housing that Dr. Spears showed you. And usually a lot of students remain on campus after that point because it is convenient. They do like living there and continue to do that after they move on to their next sophomore year. So scholarship, I know you had some questions about that. We do have what's called the International Student Service Scholarship. And to be eligible for that, it is undergraduate and graduate international students who are on an F1 student visa. You have to have a 3.0 grade point average, that's US, and we take that again from that professional transcript evaluation that you submitted for admission. And then you must also continue to have a 3.0 to maintain the scholarship throughout the time that you're here. What is covered by that scholarship? So that waives your out-of-state tuition. So you only pay in-state tuition. So all international students pay out-of-state tuition. So that is at a higher rate than US domestic students. So that would be waived and it would drop you down to in-state tuition, which is a savings of approximately $3,000 to $4,000 per semester, maybe more, it just depends on various factors. And then how to apply for that. So once you applied to the university and you've been accepted for admission, then you can complete the application form, which is on our website. And that will come directly to me. It will ask you for a statement and some different attachments, a recommendation also. And then that will come to us and the committee for review. And again, it's on our International Student Service Scholarship webpage where that is located. And that's pretty much it. All the boring information, so, but very important information for you to be able to get admitted to CSU and also for me to issue your I-20 and for you to get your visa to come to study with us.
You know, all important for planning purposes. Thank you,
Yes.
Christine.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we want to come back to some questions that we had in the Q&A box. For example, I saw a questions about the students' accommodation in Georgia, if you provide something or if you help students finding accommodations.
So we have on-campus residence halls that either freshmen or students transferring in, if they're coming from their university, but they're entering as a sophomore or second year student or something like that. We have residence hall options for students. We also have some postgraduates who live in our university's residence halls. We have a central office that does that, and they will process your applications and assign you accordingly. They're pretty easy to work with, and they do their very best to assign you to a resident hall space that would be close to where the majority of your classes would be. So we are, you know, as I mentioned in the presentation, we have 2 different campuses, but we're close together. We're only like 2 miles or maybe 3 or 4 kilometers at most separated from one another. And we're connected through a university bus shuttle system that is free for students to use. So you go back and forth between the 2 campuses. And given that the College of the Arts is down on the River Park campus, closest to the city center, most of the students in that college tend to live around the courses down there. That doesn't mean they don't come to the other campus for different classes, but what it means is they're sort of in close proximity to where the majority of their work is located.
Okay,
And we
great.
also when you live in the residence halls, you're, especially if you're a first-year student, you'll have a meal plan that goes with our restaurants on campus, or we call them our cafeterias, and we have 2 of those on one on each campus as well.
Thank you. I saw another questions about the background that is requested to access to the Schwob School of Music. If you can give more information about that.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on music admissions, but what I can tell you is that we have a lot of international students in the Schwob School of Music. And as I mentioned in the text reply, it's internationally known and it operates very much like a conservatory. So students go through the admission process, but they also have to typically submit portfolios or musical demonstrations that they may have either through video, like on YouTube, or video clips that are sent in by email, and also through just performance that might be audio based. And that's true for any kind of instrument and also for vocal or voice performance. And so the music school focuses heavily on classical music, but there are different genres within that span of classical music that you can focus on. An example, just a year or so ago, we hosted a Latin American musician who is a world-known percussionist, and he worked with our percussion ensemble. So within music, you have your different specialized areas. And we just had a group of classically trained trombonists go to South Korea to an international competition. And we have opera singers who go to Europe in the summer and take part in festivals. So really, it's a full-fledged school of music that is classically focused. Although students do perform in other areas of music when they want to. We have jazz, for example, that some students, as a sub-ensemble, will go out and create their own little world of jazz, because that's something they like to do.
And if I can add, Eric, regarding scholarships, the School of Music does have their own scholarships. So you can also apply for those as well, and their website has plenty of information about how to do that and how that works.
Yeah.
And the art department has merit scholarships as well, much like the structure they use in the Schwob School.
Yeah, thank you. I see another question about what the student can study in the Department of Communication.
Well, I can go ahead and answer that one. Again, we have 4 different tracks within the Department of Communication. One of those tracks is Communication Studies, which is going to be your more classical theoretical communications. So interpersonal communication, group communication, international communication, that's what you would study primarily within that track. Next, we have a PR track, which is public relations. So that's taking a lot of that communication theory and applying it specifically to how you manage public relations for a business. and primarily for nonprofits. Here at CSU, we work closely with nonprofit or non-government organizations and helping them with their communication strategies. So you'll learn a lot of that within the PR track. Then we have integrated media, which is, I know it's a weird term, hard to kind of figure out what is included in there, but that is where we do podcasts, we do video blogs, YouTube videos, a lot of digital content, social media content, web design, all of that is kind of included in that integrated media, where we're really teaching you how to use social media, digital media, and video to communicate your message, to communicate your stories to the world. And then last is that film production track, which is where we are focusing primarily on film and video production, both traditional kind of narrative structures, like you would find in Hollywood or independent film productions, but also documentary. We have a pretty heavy emphasis on documentary within our department as well. So those are kind of the areas that you can participate in within the department. Through the Georgia Film Academy, that is primarily film production, the Hollywood system of film production. But also, we have just launched an esports gaming partnership with the Film Academy. That's not, playing the esports games, but how to run a esports event and broadcast that event. I know here in the United States, esports has taken off dramatically. It has rapidly become a multi-billion-dollar industry, and even some universities are starting to recruit students to play on their esports teams, just as they do with their traditional teams, such as American football, soccer. I know that's not what you guys typically call it. But as they do with those athletes, they're now starting to do with esports as well. And we can teach you how to set up and broadcast that.
Adam, you may have mentioned it, but there's also a radio station, and students run that, and it's extreme. It's fun. Students love the radio station too, don't they?
Yes, yeah, we do have a completely student-run radio station where they do more than just music. They also do podcasts. They do talk shows. But one of our favorite ones is called Jukebox, which is kind of a music program where they try to stump each other with different songs and everything, and it's hilarious. My office used to be right next to the radio station, and whenever they did Jukebox, I could not get any work done because they were all yelling and screaming and laughing with each other. So it's a great opportunity.
Right. Carolina, I see that there are a couple questions about can you, in the Department of Theater, can you do both theater and dance? And I want to say yes, we have both of those options, and students can be fluid and move between those two things. And then Mike, there's a question that says, can you please explain portfolio requirements for visual art graduate courses?
I'd be happy to do that. So let me go back to our degree structure. We have a studio art focus. Can you hear me? Okay. You have a studio art focus, which is a BFA, a Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and then we have a BA. So the portfolio admissions process for the BFA that's the only one there's an admissions process. You don't need a portfolio for the BA in studio art. The BFA requirement is a typical studio or portfolio requirement where we're looking at the breadth of a student's body of work. We're looking for drawing and painting skills. If they're interested in 3D, we're looking for 3D skills. And we look for 10 to 20 images of that body of work for the BFA. If you don't have that, you can go right into the BA and then create that portfolio your first year here, and then enter it into the BFA later if that's what you're looking for. So within the BFA, though, just to kind of clarify, there are focus areas. We have a book arts and printmaking focus area. And then we have a ceramics focus area, a narrative illustration focus area, a painting and drawing focus area, a photo or photography focus area, and then sculpture/expanded media. And then within those, like for instance, I teach in sculpture, we're doing metal fabrication, plaster casting, woodworking, and things like that. So depending on what area you want to focus in, you would develop your portfolio with those skills in mind. So if you were thinking I wanted to go into a 3D sculpture area or ceramic sculpture area, you would show us some of the 3D work or sculpture work that you've made in the past. But like I said, it's not necessary to have a portfolio to come into the art program. You can go right into the art program as a BA in studio art. And then the other things that we have that are much more degree oriented is we have a graphic design degree track and an animation degree track. And so those are, our graphic design does overlap a little bit with what communication does, but it mainly focuses on like catalog layout and graphic design, web design layout and things like that, and text layout and things like that. And then the other part with animation, they're preparing students really to do 3D animation, really to make movies, to make videos and things like that in the future. So many of the internships go into Atlanta from here in the animation track. So I think that lays out a little bit of the portfolio, but I do want to stress there's no panic. We have students say, I don't have a portfolio. And we're like, that's okay. You can get into the BA without the portfolio. And if you want to go the BFA track later, you then submit that following year.
Sounds great. Thanks. Thank you. We also have the question, do we have to do a casting for the theater department? And my answer is yes, but it's a friendly process. Don't worry about that. It's not, it's not like the Hollywood setup that you think of where you go in and you get 30 seconds into your performance. They say, thank you, goodbye. It's not like that at all. It really is, it's a very friendly process. And then beyond that, once you're in the theater program, there are multiple performances every year of different plays. And so there is a traditional stage, there's a black box theater stage, and there are all kinds of things happening. So there are auditions happening all the time, which not only gives you a lot of great opportunity to try different roles or even work in production or behind the scenes, but also to get used to having that audition experience over and over again so that when you go out professionally, it's not a scary thing anymore. And some of the theater students actually do internships in the London West End district of theater production as well.
And also with that theater,
yeah.
Eric, there are also technical classes as well, beyond just theater performance, but design, set design, lighting, all of that. They also teach those. And correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, but isn't there a track in the more technical side of things?
I think so.
There is within our theater department.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. Mike, this one I think is more philosophically for you. How are we taking care of AI in the field of visual arts, as a friend or a foe? I'll toss it to you. I don't know the answer to that.
I think it's a friend, but I don't know where, but I do think there's a difference. I think a lot of things that happen in these studios here at CSU are much more analog based. And what we are finding, at least, is the enrollment in the analog based classes is growing tremendously. I think there's an interest in these hands-on experiences and crafting with your hands, or even like at Passaquan with the kind of conservation work that the students are there in that space working. And it's an experience beyond the screen and it's beyond that AI experience. But I have a student, I'm teaching also expanded media, and I'm teaching a section expanded media right now. And I have a student who's created a complete alter ego for her piece, and she uses AI for all of it. And she is, what's her name? Maddie Monroe. a take on Marilyn Monroe, and she goes to openings. She goes and hangs out with movie stars in this virtual space, and she's on Instagram and Facebook, and she's got this whole other persona that she's become, and she uses AI as the kind of direct tool to do this. And so this is her body of work for the class this semester. And I think if you use it right, it's fine. I do think there are some challenging issues with with copyright laws and things like that that students need to be aware of. But at this point, I think that the analog experience can be enhanced through AI, in my opinion. So that's a philosophical statement that I think could go on forever in a much longer discussion.
Yeah. Well, that's an example of what class could be like. There you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I encourage my students to use it right now. Well, let's see what happens later. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. I think that we answered all the questions.
Mhm.
And I remind you that if you want to receive the certificate of attendance for this free masterclass, you can click in the link I am sending in the chat right now and request it. And before we say goodbye, is our last time together, I would like to ask to the panelists if they want to leave the students with a message, maybe.
My message would be, as much as I would love for you to come study with us at Columbus State University, that you focus on finding a university that is the right fit for you. Don't get too concerned with rankings, university rankings, the top 100 rankings, the London Times rankings, whatever rankings you're looking at. There is a side to that I find that doesn't completely tell the true story of any university. And oftentimes the way you feel about an institution is as important as its data. So if it's the right fit for you and you find the right academic programs and the right professors, you're going to find the right opportunities in the world for you. So just keep that in mind. That would be one of my big suggestions.
I would go ahead, Christine. You were going to say something.
It's fine. I would just say, if you do decide to come to CSU, we are here for you. As they mentioned earlier, classes are small, faculty will know you. I will get to know you. Most everyone on campus is welcoming. We have a diverse culture, all kinds of cultures on campus, and everyone appreciates that. And I think it would be a really good experience for you to come here to us.
And I just want to say thank you for your time. And if you ever really want to have a magical experience and you're in South Georgia, come and join us at Passaquan. It's a mock pre-Columbian psychedelic wonderland. And if you don't know what that is, it's something else in the middle of nowhere in the pines of Marion County, Georgia. So, but we would love to have you here. And every art student goes to Passaquan at some point in their time here. So thank you.
A rite of passage.
Yeah, I would just kind of echo what Eric said. It's not all about rankings. It's about the community and the fit that it is for you to join that academic community. And we are very community focused here at CSU, and strive to integrate our students within the local community here. And within the film side of things, it's all about who you know, not as much about what you know, but who you know. And through our partnership with the Georgia Film Academy, you get to meet some pretty impressive people within the film industry that can help you with your career.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the panelists. And of course, I would like to thank again all the students connected with us today. And I hope you will be here with us in the next webinar organized by Doxity in partnership with Columbus State University. So have a nice day and thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
all.